Hello, I'm Josh Ford, President of the West Virginia AFL-CIO. Thank you for attending our press event this morning. It's only been 10 days since Senate Bill 268 was passed out of the Senate Finance Committee. You all remember that meeting. It was a meeting in which the senators were forbidden from asking questions about a bill that's 56 pages long and impacts 230,000 West Virginians in many significant ways. And because Senate proponents were less than forthcoming when discussing this bill, as it was up for passage 6 days ago, it has been incredibly difficult to determine the impact to the pocketbooks of almost 15% of our state's population. It wasn't until yesterday evening that the merits of this bill were first discussed in any official legislative committee meeting. Now, I think we all know there have been plenty of conversations behind closed doors among legislative leaders, but none, and I repeat, none, that include the plan participants and legislative leaders. And now this bill is on a fast track here in the House of Delegates. I can only assume yet again that they're going to be less than forthcoming about the consequences of Senate Bill 268. That's why we're here today, to share with the media, and thank you all for being here, to share with our membership and others that are interested. We're here to share the truth about Senate Bill 268 and the impact it will have on 1 out of every 7 West Virginians. And we're going to encourage policymakers to slow down, to listen to the most important stakeholders. That's the plan participants. So we can make sure this bill provides real solvency for PEIA instead of reducing benefits and kicking people off the plan. Thank you again for being here. I'd like to first bring up Myron August from the firefighters.
Thank you, Josh. Thank everyone for being here. Josh said my name is Myron August. I'm a recently retired fire captain from the Charleston Fire Department, and also a president of the Professional Firefighters of West Virginia. I represent all of the professional firefighters throughout the state. The reason we're here to speak today on this behalf of all of our members of Senate Bill 68 is concerning us because there is language in this bill that directs the PEIA finance to consider alternatives and options representing non-state employee participation in PEIA. Just so everyone understands who non-state employees that participate in PEIA are, there are around 32,000 of them statewide. In the local governments from all over West Virginia. I'm referring to not only our firefighters, our police officers, our deputy sheriffs, our 911 dispatchers, EMTs, paramedics across the state. This also impacts our sanitation workers, our garbage collection people, our nurses, our LPNs, and a whole list of other
Okay, let's bring up Joe White from the West Virginia School Service Personnel Association.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you all for coming. I am Joe White, Executive Director of the WVSSPA. I have a prepared statement on behalf of our International UMWA President, Cecil Roberts. It is absolutely outrageous for legislatures to believe this bill would do anything but hurt West Virginia working families. Public sector employees, workers, are already undervalued and overworked. By increasing health care premiums, you are forcing these families who are already living paycheck to paycheck to make a choice of paying for health care or putting food on their tables. The state won't save a dime if these families have to move from West Virginia in order to provide for their families. I am strongly against the passing of this bill and hope that legislatures come to their senses and provide West Virginia state employees the health care and the benefits that they so deserve. Our next speaker that's going to be coming before you today, let me give you an overlook at what you are looking at. You're looking at a 26% premium increase. Some people say 25, some say 24 and a half. You get where we're coming from? Fiscal note was 26% increase in premium. There's a spousal penalty in there. They don't want to talk about the spousal penalty, but there's a spousal penalty of $147 on there. There is also going to be next year a tier change with a collapse of tier change. And as our first speaker spoke, at the actuary study what they're going to have to do. They're talking a raise here of $2,300, but as our next speaker is going to show you, let me enlighten you that on that $2,300 raise, they're going to take taxes out of that. They're going to take retirement out of that. They're going to take all the other benefits out of that, and $2,300 raise is not a $2,300 raise. Our next speaker, the president of WVSSPA, Sherry Talby.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Talkington, and I'm currently a working president for WVSSPA. I am currently an employee with Harrison County Schools. I have 26 years as an ECAT. My situation echoes the majority of West Virginia school service personnel employees. I currently fall within the 28,100 to 38,100 PEIA salary tier. $234 is my monthly premium. For Plan A family, a 26% premium increase will add $60.83 to my monthly premium, coupled with $147 marriage penalty, spousal penalty, increasing my monthly premium to $441.83. If you follow the chart to the side of me, you will see that is an additional $207.83 in my monthly premium. The premium increase for the year is $2,493.93. The proposed raise of $2,300 leaves me in the hole. Regardless of what our Senate leadership has said, my situation is not unique. It is a common example of what service personnel will face. With the proposed raise for our legislators, their salary for 60 days will be more than thousands of service personnel salary. Thank you.
Hey, Sherry. Okay. Thank you, Sherry. Elaine Harris with CWA.
Good morning. I come to you this morning on behalf of the working men and women that work in the state government for the state of West Virginia. More specifically, and if you just bear with me, I have some real examples, not the fuzzy math that you've heard that's been put before you in the discussions here in both chambers. I want to just give you an example of an Office Assistant 3 who works for the West Virginia State Police. She currently pays $225.80 a month for insurance for herself and her 2 children. The increase of $59 a month will put her premiums at $284.80. This is without a spouse. She wants to bring in October a spouse, and there'll be a spousal penalty that will bring her insurance up to $431.80 a month. She currently pays an amount that with this increase, it will be a $2,472 a year increase. Let me just emphasize that $2,472, if with deductions of premiums, is pre-tax dollars. So it certainly doesn't include, the after-tax effect. There's certainly not enough money. Let me just share with you the working men and women that work in the Division of Corrections. There's been a lot of talk here about a corrections crisis. Well, there's about to be even more so a crisis. A correctional officer 3 with a spouse, it will be an increase of $2,772 per year. Now that's in addition to co-pays that has not been mentioned. An office assistant, which is one of the lower classifications with a spouse, the increase will be $2,496 per year. And again, folks, that's pre-tax dollars. So you have, as previously been mentioned, deductions for pension, deductions for tax. So as you can see, also that some of the very lowest classifications, a laundry worker with a spouse, and that's an increase of $2,328 per year for that laundry worker. And let me remind you, those workers that are considered support staff, they are required to relieve posts, working to relieve the understaffed officers. So again, these increases are not small. So a $2,300 raise that they'll not see after taxes, if they were to get me on the pre-tax dollars, of $1,600 or $1,700. And then they say, okay, let's look at what we're going to do for you on the income tax. And I don't know of any of these workers that are making, at the top, $461,000 a year. That's the top place. They fall right here. So again, as was mentioned yesterday, that you're not going to see any net gain. The other piece that I'll say is the governor's full rebate. Many of these people that work in these facilities drive long distances to get to work. Their vehicles, they're not brand new, they're not top of the line vehicles, not luxury vehicles that they drive. So again, we need the House, as the discussions continue on the floor, we need them to take a look. As has often been said, the old adage is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I'll tell you, these folks are very much on the menu, and we need to see what can be done to help this overall situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elaine. Fred Albert from AFT West Virginia.
Thank you, President Sword. I am Fred Albert, President of AFT West Virginia, and thank all of you for being here today. Here we are again, and we really shouldn't have to be here talking about PEIA, because we have been talking for years about PEIA. Is that better, Kim? So here we are again, and I want to address some of the unknowns, because there are a lot of unknowns about this bill. I was approached this morning by some of our retirees who gave their lives to education in West Virginia. They've dedicated their lives to our students and our families in education. What does the future mean for them? We don't really know. We know that there's an increase in premiums coming July 1 of 2023 for active PEIA participants over 230,000. 26% is a big hit to families. You know, we have a shortage all over this state of educators, service personnel, correction officers. The list goes on. This is not a way to attract more teachers, more service personnel, more correction officers to our state and to those jobs if we're going to continue to erode their benefits. And out of the very mouth of one of our delegates the other night, he said, you know, a benefit is a benefit if it's really a benefit. A benefit that has been promised to us over the years in lieu of many pay raises, and now we are finding that to be eroded. And no one is foolish enough to say, well, we will never have another premium increase, because we know that we will have to have premium increases as we go along. But 26% all at once is a big hit. Going forward to the year 2025, we're looking at about a $500 million deficit in PEIA that I suppose will be supplied, furnished on the backs of hard-working, dedicated public employees of West Virginia. That's just not right. We've given our lives to this state to try to make it better. This was a benefit that we had along the way. Please encourage your legislators to slow this down. We're all about finding a funding source. We've been talking about that for years, but don't do it on the backs of hard-working West Virginians. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Fred. We have one more presenter, then we'll open it up for Q&A. Dale Lee from the WVEA.
Thank you. I'm Dale Lee, the president of the West Virginia Education Association. And one of the things that was a concern to our members across the state was addressed yesterday in an amendment that would make contiguous counties in West Virginia at the 80-20 rate instead of the 70-30 rate. That was a huge adjustment from the House Finance Committee. But that's not the only adjustment that needs to be made in this bill. We're asking to go back for 3 years when the governor's put money in the PEIA plan under the reserve clause where the employees didn't have the opportunity to see a premium increase. It was to keep a premium increase from coming. But now we're asked to go back and make up that premium increase. That's just not the right way to do this. I have no problem with having skin in the game. We've known for years that our employees have to have skin in the game. But we have to do it in a reasonable way. And the way to do that is to start now and to go forward with the no more than 20% rate for employees, no less than 80% rate for the state. When you do that, you know what you have to come up with each year. It gives you an idea. To back up and make up a 25% premium increase because of the years that we didn't have that opportunity is just the wrong thing to do. There are amendments that will be offered on the House floor. I urge our delegates to listen to the constituents across the state. Let's fix PEIA, but let's do it at a reasonable rate and a reasonable way, not totally on the backs of the employees. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.